Hello, my name is Michael Dayu, and it is my privilege to speak with you today through Integration Point's webcast to share some industry knowledge and strategies for dealing with the tariff rate increases associated with the recently implemented Section 232 Presidential Proclamation and proposed 301 investigation. This is a current and relevant topic that companies are actively engaged in. The objective of this session is to provide some background on the Section 232 and 301 investigations, discuss how companies are evaluating the potential impact of these changes to their business, outline possible mitigation and customer planning strategies, and to explain how operating under FTC procedures can offer added flexibility in dealing with these matters. In April 2017, President Trump directed the Department of Commerce to conduct investigations under Section 232 of the Trade Expansion Act to determine whether imports of steel and aluminum threaten national security. On February 16, 2018, the Department of Commerce issued reports confirming that imports of both steel and aluminum were indeed a threat to our national security. On March 11, 2018, the President issued a proclamation imposing a 25% tariff on imports of certain steel products and one imposing a 10% tariff on imports of certain aluminum products. Certain countries such as Argentina, Australia, Brazil, Mexico, member countries of the EU, and South Korea have been granted an exclusion through May 1st, which is tomorrow. By May 1st, 2018, the President will decide whether to continue to exempt these countries from tariffs based on the status of trade policy negotiations. Quotas have been discussed as an alternative means as well. The proclamation also leaves the door open for additional exclusions to be granted. Furthermore, on August 18, 2017, the U.S. Trade Representative initiated an investigation under Section 301 into the government of China's acts, policies, and practices related to technology transfer, intellectual property, and innovation. The investigation concluded with affirmative findings, prompting on March 22, 2018, the USTR to publish a proposed list of products subject to additional tariffs. The estimate of the article subject to these additional tariffs is more than 1,300 HTS codes. There's no definitive timeline to be established as to when this will go into effect, but some trade experts estimate that the effective date will be sometime in June of 2018. Regarding the impact analysis, companies are carefully reviewing their import data to identify which imported articles are classified under an HTS and sourced from a country of origin that is not included as an exemption. Companies are examining the classifications for accuracy and validating that the country of origin is indeed correctly stated. Further analysis is needed to determine if any of the subject articles are included on both the Section 232 and 301 lists, as well as possibly being subject to an ADD-CVD order. Most importantly, companies are reviewing the total entered value of the subject articles and associated duty and comparing that to the difference once the additional duties are added. Keep in mind the additional duties added through the presidential proclamation are in addition to the normal ad valorem rate. Possible mitigation strategies that companies are evaluating are looking at the impact of their Tier 1 and Tier 2 suppliers. While they may not be directly impacted, some of their Tier 1 and Tier 2 suppliers very well may be. Companies are looking to determine whether this impact will flow down to their business or not. Exporting from an FTZ can help to avoid the additional duties. Zone-to-zone transfers to another FTZ operator who subsequently exports the merchandise. Duty deferral becomes a much larger cash flow benefit as duty rates increase. Tariff engineering. Some companies are looking at alternative ways of importing material. We have a client who is importing certain steel products into the U.S. and cutting and shaping those products in their U.S. FTZ. Since raw components were included in the list of targeting items within the Section 232 listing, the company shifted the cutting and shaping operation back to the originating country. The further processed items, once imported, are now classified under an HTS that is not within the proclamation. Destruction and scrap. Scrap and destruction within the FTZ can often be a marginal savings opportunity. However, with the tariff rate increases, companies are now reviewing a modification of their scrap and destruction processes as a means to offset some of the duty increases. Strategic sourcing decisions. Companies are looking at sourcing material from exempted countries or purchasing substitute material that is not within the listing under Section 232 and 301. Numerous companies are preparing and filing exclusion applications, making claims they could not source the targeted list of items in the same quantity or quality that meets their customer demands. On-hand inventory, evaluating what the on-hand inventory in the FTZ is at the time of the implementation of these proclamations. Can the merchandise in the activated area be removed ahead of the implementation date to avoid additional duty exposure? Soliciting political support and reducing duty liability through valuation plans like first sale, transfer pricing agreements, or by itemizing the invoice value to back out certain non-dutiable charges. Customer and intercompany planning. This tariff rate change impacts more than just trade compliance professionals, but touches on several business divisions. How will the company handle the communication with customers? How will sourcing and procurement make adjustments? How will manufacturing and warehouse distribution channels be impacted? Will bond amounts need to be increased? Zone-to-zone transfer planning, purchasing contracts, FTA qualifications. These are all areas that need to be reviewed and carefully monitored to evaluate whether or not they're impacted by these additional rate increases. The FTZ continues to provide companies with added flexibility. The FTZ provides a greater avenue for savings. The FTZ will continue to afford companies the ability to save on duties and fees through MPF, exporting, duty deferral, inverted tariff for the non-targeted items, scrap destruction, and zone-to-zone transfers. We have had some companies inquire as to why they should remain in the FTZ. Our response is to conduct a careful and thoughtful analysis before making a final determination. Acknowledging that time is of the essence, it is important to not make rash decisions, as this may cause compliance issues and/or result in the opposite effect and cost the company a lot more money. FTZs can take 6 to 8 months to set up and implement, so please be mindful of the time commitment. Those companies that already have an FTZ have a competitive advantage against those not already set up. I hope you enjoyed today's webcast. Again, my name is Michael Dayu, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you today. Thank you.